Okay. So, hi all. Uh, Today we'll be discussing on a practical approach to Dapper. So, last time I gave a presentation on Dapper, and it was a total theoretical presentation in which I explained what is Dapper and how it works, how it is a useful tool for developer for microservice development. And today, mostly we'll be doing practical for Dapper, which would explain how it actually works. But before that, I also have a very nice diagram that I found online, which explains, which summarizes what Dapper is actually. Okay, so I'll try to explain it as much as possible, which would give a bit of idea about what Dapper is. Okay, so in the middle of the diagram, we can see what how Dapper runs. So we have our app, and Dapper, it runs as a sidecar with our application. Okay, so my application can be in any code base. It can be Java, Node, Python, any code base, and Dapper runs as a sidecar attached to that application, and provides it many kind of out of the box features, which helps me in only focusing on my code which I want to develop, and not take care of other things like state management and publish and subscribe, like Kafka service publish and subscribe, service to service invocation, service discovery, and lot of other things, secure communication between services. All of this is taken care by Dapper by running as a sidecar. So for example, when I want to run my service on Kubernetes, the services, they run in a pod. Okay, so every service run as a pod, and Dapper would run as a pod attached to that service. Okay, so Dapper would be another pod running on Kubernetes, and each service would have its own Dapper pod. Okay, so like going from the starting, we can see that Dapper is a portable event-driven runtime. Okay, it makes easy for the devs to build resilient, stateful, and stateless application that run on cloud and support diverse languages and dev frameworks. Okay, so there is an introduction to Dapper given after that, which states that it the goal is to have build resilient apps using microservices. Okay, so we want to build resilient apps using microservices and only want to focus on the main business logic of our code, independent of the language or framework or anything else. Okay, all of that we want to get taken care of by Dapper. Then, as I explained, it's the sidecar architecture. A sidecar gets attached to my application and takes care of all this. Okay, and there are multiple building blocks. Like what Dapper supports, it is that Dapper divides everything into building blocks. We can see that there is service to service invocation, which is it is resilient, direct, and secure. Okay, and it provides REST API call between services as well as gRPC calls. Okay, second, it is state management. Like the state management is like pluggable. It's pluggable. Okay, so like if I want to use Redis as a database, I can use Redis, and if I want to switch to Postgres, all I have to do is go to the YAML file where I have defined Redis as a database and change it to Postgres. Everything else would be taken care by Dapper. Okay, for publish and subscribe, like if I want to use, like for example, Kafka is a publish and subscribe tool, right? So we can do that easily with Dapper. I don't have to write any other boilerplate code for Kafka integration. All I have to do is publish and subscribe using the methods. Okay, then there is resource binding, which is triggers and event driven architecture. We also have support for actors and observability. That is, all of the logging of all of these services is taken care by Dapper. Dapper would be producing these logs, and it also, I can also trace these logs using tools like telemetry. Okay, on and it also provides secret management. Okay, so it has secret management tools and integration for if I want to store any secret of any services. Okay, so overall, this was an overview of Dapper. So it's a portable event-driven runtime. That's it is. Okay. So moving forward, I'll explain like what we'll be doing today. I have an HLD of that. So I have a piece of application which is written in Node, and it would be communicating with the Dapper runtime, and it would have a state store management as Redis. Okay, so all the data of orders that would be coming in and the new orders, everything would be stored in Redis, and all the communication is happening to Dapper runtime. And the piece of code is written in Node. Okay, I have a get call and a post call. And moving ahead, the second part is that I have exposed these get and post APIs written in Node using Dapper. And now I have another piece of code in Python. Okay. And this code, it calls the Dapper API, which is exposed using the Node code. And it is continuously saving new orders using the Python code and updating that in the Redis. Okay, so it is continuously posting new orders using a Python code and updating the orders in the Redis. So here we can see that there are two different languages we are using. The communication between these services is being managed by Dapper, and the state store management is also done by Dapper. Redis is provided inbuilt with Dapper. I don't have to install Redis or take care of anything. I just have to define Redis in a YAML file, and I'll show like how we do that also. Okay, so let's try this out. Okay. Let me open my VS Code. Okay, so this is the code for the implementation. Okay, so here we have a code base in Node.js, which has the get API, the post API, and also a delete API here for order. Okay, so this is the get API for order, a post API for order. And the thing is that it is communicating with my Redis using this URL. Okay, the Redis is hosted on Dapper port 3500. It is a default port, and this is the name of the state store that I have defined in my YAML for Redis. Okay, so using this URL, my service is communicating with Redis. All right. So we have a get API, we have a new order post API, and a deletion API. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll run this particular application, and we'll be able to call those APIs and validate it. Okay. So this is the command to run any application using Dapper. I have to provide a unique app ID for it. I've named it Node app. I have to provide an application port. So I'm using the default Node application port. And this is my Dapper HTTP port. So this is the actual port with which another service would be communicating. The service does not has to know my application port. So service discovery is being handled by Dapper. Okay. And okay, so we'll run this application.
KubeCon session. KubeCon gonna.
Okay.
Consent.
Aditya, can you mute, please? Thank you. Okay, so we have run the Node application. We can see the logs here. It is listening to this port, and these are the logs for it. So I'll just go to Postman and run this application. Okay, so this was the API that we exposed, the new order API. And what Dapper does is that if I want to call an API, it provides me an endpoint, a specific thing I need to attach in the URL. So like if I want to call an API, I need to attach invoke to it. Okay, I need to provide the name of my application, which I defined there, which is node app, and the method name. We give method and then the method name, which is the new order method. Okay, so using this, Dapper would be able to call this API written in my node code. Okay, so this is the post API. So the application has successfully posted the data in Redis. We can validate it using the get API for order. Okay, so I just posted 42, and we can retrieve it here. Okay, any order I post here, it would, we'll be able to see it by using the get API. So this has been updated in the Redis database, and I did not have to write any boilerplate code for that. All of that is being handled by Dapper. Okay, so we have our node application up with the API exposed. Now let's move to the second part. The second part is exposing a Python code using Dapper, and what this code
Anish,
does. Yeah.
एक बार वो पीछे वाला कोड दिखाना.
हाँ. लास्ट टाइम मुझे
राइट में
एक क्वेश्चन था.
हाँ हाँ
कि
नहीं, मैं कह रहा हूँ ये राइट करने के लिए इस वाले यूआरएल पर रिक्वेस्ट मार दे रहे हो.
हाँ, इस वाले यूआरएल पे रिक्वेस्ट मार देता है ये राइट करने के लिए, और वो राइट करना भी Dapper ही हैंडल कर रहा है रेडिस पे. मतलब वो जो
अच्छा,
डायग्राम,
मतलब उसने रेडिस के ऊपर एक रैपर बना के एंड पॉइंट एक्सपोज कर दिए, तो हम वो एंड पॉइंट के लिए कंज्यूम कर रहे हैं रेडिस से इंटरेक्ट करने के लिए.
एग्जैक्टली, ये Dapper रन टाइम ही कम्युनिकेट कर रहा है रेडिस के साथ, चाहे पोस्टग्रेस हो चाहे कुछ भी हो. तो ये सब Dapper हैंडल कर रहा है. मुझे बस
तो अगर मान लो यहाँ पे मेरा स्टोर अलग होता, पोस्टग्रेस होता और मेरे को कुछ कॉम्प्लेक्स क्वेरी चलानी होती, या मेरे को रेडिस पे कोई कॉम्प्लेक्स ऑपरेशन करना होता 2-3 कीज को कंबाइन करके, तो कर लेता है.
हाँ, उसका आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स सपोर्ट है. उसके लिए डेफिनेटली अपन को यहाँ पे कोड करना पड़ेगा उसके स्पेसिफिक, जो भी हमें एप्लीकेशन के लिए करना है. बट अभी मतलब ये अगर आप बेसिक गेट और पोस्ट देख रहे हो तो उसके लिए मुझे कुछ एक्स्ट्रा पीस ऑफ कोड नहीं करना पड़ रहा है, और वो भी अपन को केवल बिजनेस लॉजिक बताना पड़ेगा यहाँ पे. वो कम्युनिकेशन भी डायरेक्ट एपीआई से हो जाएगा जो आप कॉम्प्लेक्स कोड कह रहे हो.
ठीक है, ठीक
है ना. एक क्वेश्चन और था आपका लास्ट टाइम, मुझे याद है कि अपन को वो यहाँ पर यूआरएल बताना पड़ता है, जिसकी वजह से शायद बार बार सर्विस को यूआरएल चेंज करना पड़े. तो इसका जब मैंने प्रैक्टिकल करा तो एक्चुअली मुझे वो नहीं करना पड़ेगा. मुझे बस मेरी सर्विस का यूआरएल बताना है यहाँ पे, कि अगर मैं ऑर्डर एपीआई कॉल कर रहा हूँ तो यहाँ पे ऑर्डर ही रहेगा. एंड ये एक स्टैंडर्ड है Dapper का, जिसके अंदर मुझे यहाँ पे इन्वोक देना पड़ता है. तो मैं अपनी कॉन्फ़िगरेशन में डायरेक्ट डिफाइन कर दूंगा कि इसमें इन्वोक लगा के फिर कॉल करो. तो अगर मैं Dapper से मूव होके किसी दूसरे प्लेटफॉर्म पे भी जाता हूँ तो मेरे कोड में चेंज नहीं आएगा, मेरा कोड इंटैक्ट ही
है. लेकिन
रहेगा.
वो इन्वोक के बाद की फंक्शनैलिटी हमें खुद से राइट करनी पड़ेगी वहां पे.
हाँ, इन्वोक के बाद की फंक्शनैलिटी तो पहले भी मेरे कोड में डिफाइंड है, राइट.
राइट राइट राइट, ठीक है, मैं समझ गया, वो समझ गया.
हाँ, मतलब वो चेंज नहीं आएगा कोड बेस में अगर मैं Dapper को रिमूव भी करता हूँ इन फ्यूचर. वो चीज थी. ओके, सो नोड ऐप हो गई है. अब सेकंड अपन पाइथन एप्लीकेशन पे आते हैं. ये क्या कर रही है? दिस पाइथन एप्लीकेशन इज कॉलिंग द नोड एप्लीकेशन. सो दिस इज द यूआरएल फॉर the node application. This is my node app method and new order API. Okay, so we are doing a post call on that URL and sending in new orders all the time continuously. Okay, so I'll show by running this Python application. Okay, so yes, the Python application is also up. So the command I used was this much only. I just had to write run app ID. I named the unique Python app and I provided like Python 3 and what file needs to be run using Python. Okay, so the Python app is up, and now when I see the node application logs, I can see that continuously new orders are getting posted here. You can see that we are getting new order every second, 29, 30, and I can go to Postman and run the get API, and every time I'm able to fetch a new order. So all I had to do was write these two files of code, no other boilerplate, no taking care of communication between two services, not thinking about what code base I'm writing the code in, and not even thinking about secure communication between these services. All of this is handled by Dapper, service discovery, everything. All I need to focus was on writing my APIs and like calling it using another service. All I had to focus on was that. So this way we were able to run the whole HLD that I explained. Okay. And now I can gracefully also stop these APIs. All I have to do is run this Dapper stop command. Okay. So this has stopped the Python application. And now I've also stopped the Node application. Okay. So yes. So we were able to achieve this whole architecture just by two pieces of code in two different files and not writing any boilerplate for any state store or communication between services, anything. Everything was handled by Dapper. Okay. So that is it. And what are the key points that we can get from this practical was that uh, like Dapper CLI, it creates environment variable for the Dapper port. And we saw that it's default to 3500, the default Dapper port. It's 3500 on which my service is being called. Okay. Secondly, the Dapper run command, it looks for the default component directly, which is for Linux and Mac OS. It is home/.dapper/components. This is the default components directory. Okay. And for Windows, it is user profile/dapper/components. So what this directory is that it holds all the YAML files, definition files for these components which I am running. Okay. So once I install Dapper on my system, it provides me Redis as the by default database, and it is mentioned there in these files. So I'll show these files also, where we can see that the default state store is defined as Redis. Okay. And the third thing we saw is that the Python app can invoke the Node app via Dapper without aware of the destination's hostname and port. Okay. So if we try to reproduce this on Kubernetes, so the service discovery, everything is handled by Dapper now. I don't have to have Nginx or anything there for communication between my services. Dapper would take care of that easily. Okay. Uh, the same way we did it in this local environment. Okay. So I'll also show that directory which I talked about. I'll go here into home Dapper CD components. Okay. Now here we can see that these two YAML files are there present by default when I install Dapper. Okay. And if I show you one of them, like this is the state store and pub/sub file. Okay. So I'll show you the state store YAML, which we used in this node application approach, the state store. So here we can see that the metadata name here defined is state store. So this is what I was talking about here in the code approach. Here we saw that I provided the state store name, right? State store. So this is derived from this only, this YAML only. I have given the name here state store. That's why I gave that in the code also. And here we have given that the type is state.redis. Okay, so Dapper provides a lot of integrations like Redis, Postgres, MySQL, name the database. It has all of them. Okay, and these are some metadata related to Redis. Okay, so like the name, the Redis host name, the password, and the actor state store. These are the metadata related to Redis. So if I give Postgres, I'll have to provide the Postgres metadata here. So this was all configuration, nothing to be done in the code here. Okay. So using that, we were able to run our code easily with Dapper. All right. So yeah, that's it for the presentation. So do we have any questions related to Dapper or anything? Okay. So thank you. Thank you, everyone. That was it for the presentation. I'll stop the recording.